What's up everyone? I hope you're doing well. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Sony a6000 and whether or not it is still worth it in 2020. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. My name is Juan. I have a huge passion for photography and videography. So if you're into that, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all future videos. The Sony a6000 came out in 2014, so it has been around for 6 years now, and it is currently retailing in the United States for $448, body only. The a6000 comes with Sony's APS-C sensor, which means the camera is not full frame. I know a lot of you already know this, but since I had no idea what that meant when I was first getting into photography and videography a few years ago, I thought it would be worth mentioning. This means you will get a 1.5 times crop with the camera. So if you are recording with a 16mm lens, it is actually going to be 24mm on the APS-C sensor. You simply multiply the focal range by 1.5. Let's start with the things I like about the Sony a6000, then we will head into the things I don't think are so great, and make sure to watch till the end for the overall conclusion. First, I love the size. It is lightweight, it is very easy to fit into your camera bag, your purse, or backpack. If you are someone that is constantly traveling, you're on the move, and you want something that is easy to carry around, that won't be adding a lot of weight, the a6000 is still a good option. Second, the price. You're going to get a great little camera for less than $500, and if you add the kit lens, for example, you're going to be paying around $550, which is still a great deal considering all the features the a6000 offers. I would like to add that Sigma's 30mm and 60mm 1.4 lenses are great options for Sony's APS-C cameras. If you want to check out a video I posted recently of some cinematic B-roll that I captured with the a6000 and Sigma's 30mm 1.4 lens, I'm linking that up above right now. Next is the autofocus. I'm not comparing it to newer and better cameras out there, but considering the price and the fact that the a6000 came out in 2014, I think the autofocus is good. It has face detection, it is pretty reliable for both photo and video. I have noticed it struggles a bit in low light, but all things considering, it is a good autofocus system. Fourth is the photo quality you're going to be getting with the a6000. You can shoot fully manual in RAW. You're going to be getting 24 megapixel photos, which is great for this camera. ISO minimum of 100, ISO maximum of 25,600. It is more than enough to capture some really cool stuff for social media. You can shoot up to 11 frames per second, and it does have a built-in flash, which I personally don't really ever use, but it is there. Next is video quality. I think the overall video quality of the a6000 is good. You can shoot at full 1080 HD at 24 frames per second, 30 frames per second, and 60 frames per second. I have done a few videos of B-roll sequences with the a6000, and I've always been happy with the overall results. I like the build quality of the camera. It is plastic, but it's well made. You can customize various buttons, and it feels good in my hand. Lastly, to finish up the things I like about the a6000, I want to again mention the price. I know everyone is on a different budget, and there are better and newer cameras out there like the a6100, the a6400, but for a camera that you can buy for less than $500, I still think the a6000 is a good deal in 2020. Okay, now let's talk about the things I don't like about the a6000, and the first thing for me is the fact that you can't connect an external microphone to this camera. That's just a bummer for me, especially if you're someone who's wanting to vlog and you want to have cleaner audio. It's not ideal. I guess you could get around it if you buy an external audio recorder and then you sync it in post-production, which isn't the funnest thing to do, but there is that option. The internal audio recording isn't terrible. It's okay, I guess, but I would much rather have the option of connecting an external microphone and have better audio quality. Here's a real life test of the audio coming straight out of the Sony a6000. This is kind of like if I was vlogging. Keep in mind, I am inside and there's not a lot of background noise. So if you're out in a city where there is going to be a lot of noise, it's going to potentially be worse. I personally don't think the audio quality is very good, and for me, it is a downside of the a6000, but I just wanted you guys to be able to hear it. Next is the EVF, or the electronic viewfinder. I'm really not a big fan, and maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but I just don't think it's very good. I find myself just using the LCD screen to see what I'm shooting for both photo and video. Third is the fact that you cannot rotate the LCD screen, and this probably feels so repetitive because I'm sure this is something you're going to hear about in every single review of this camera. You can only tilt the screen like this, which really just isn't ideal. It would be great to be able to see yourself while you're vlogging, or just have different options for different angles. Fourth, the a6000 does not have in-body stabilization, and this is something the a6100 or a6400 don't have either, but if you're someone that's really wanting to focus on video or vlogging, I think it is a factor that is worth considering. It really depends on the type of video you see yourself doing and whether or not you want to add a gimbal to your setup. You can get a lens with optical stabilization, which is definitely going to help, but not all lenses come with this feature. Here's an example of how the video looks handheld with the kit lens, which has optical stabilization, and here's an example of how the video looks with Sigma's 30mm lens, which doesn't have optical stabilization. I did mention this next thing a little bit in the beginning, but the low light performance for video is not going to be the best, and again, it's a $500 camera, so I'm not really expecting it to have incredible low light performance, but I think it is something to be aware of. The battery life is not great. The camera uses MPFW50 rechargeable lithium batteries, so it will be helpful to have some extras, but I have found I can go through a day of shooting both video and photos with 2 to 3 batteries without having any problems. To finish up the things I don't like about the a6000, I do have to mention the fact that you can't record video with any picture profiles. You can't record an S-Log or other picture profiles with the a6000. So if you see yourself really wanting that extra dynamic range and the ability to really color grade in post-production, that is something the a6000 is going to lack. It does have creative style and picture effect options, which means you can manipulate the color coming out of the camera, but it doesn't mean the bitrate or the information captured by the camera will be higher or better quality. For my overall conclusion, I still think the a6000 is worth it in 2020. You can definitely still create some cool things with this camera. However, if you're someone who's wanting to focus more on video and you can afford to spend a few extra $100, I do think going for the a6100, the a6400, or the a6600 will be a better option. If you are just wanting to focus on photography and you want something that's easy to carry around, the a6000 is a great option for the price. You can pair it with a couple of good lenses and you're going to end up with a good setup. If you are someone that already owns the a6000, I think you have a good little camera, but obviously technology has improved over the past 6 years and nowadays there are better cameras out there. If you want to check out the a6000 or any of the other Sony APS-C cameras I mentioned in the video, as well as the Sigma lenses, I'm putting links to all of that down below in the description. If I can help with anything or if you have any questions, please let me know down below in the comments. I would be happy to help. And thanks so much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.